Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking to you about ways of coping with stress and anxiety. This is coming from somebody who has really struggled in her lifetime with it, but I don't want to be a downer and act like a victim. I want to talk to you about how to overcome it and the things you can do. Years ago when I was a teenager, I went to the doctor asking for something to help with it. And he actually told me no. He's like, you're a teenager. He's like, I know it would help you, but you don't want to get addicted to this kind of thing. It's like once you start that, any kind of pills you take, you're going to have to take them for the rest of your life. And he's just like, I'm going to be honest with you, you're 16 years old. In a couple years, you're going to be on your own and probably can't afford insurance. He's like, you just don't realize how expensive health insurance is. He's like, I don't want to put you on something that you're not going to be able to afford and end up in a worse situation than you are in now. But his advice was to look into different ways of coping with stress and anxiety, and if possible, getting away from the stressors. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you today. Things I've learned throughout my years and things that I've learned by talking to other people. I got the idea from this video by talking to one of my friends the other day. He's like a big tough guy. He wouldn't tell me what was going on in his life, but he asked me to tell him things I do that helps with stress that he could try. I had to write them all down. There is quite a few on my little dry erase board here. First thing I want to talk about is the easiest step, at least for me, is to breathe. I do this whenever I feel any stress or anxiety. I used to be embarrassed to do it, but now I just don't care. Anytime I feel stress or anxiety, I start to, while telling myself to calm down, it's not worth getting up in the air about. That it's not as bad as I think it is. And usually that's enough to take the edge off. The second thing I do, and only when I have the ability, is when it's worse than that, I will take walks. I will go on a run, and that helps to clear the mind. You know, at first, the thoughts are still bouncing around in there, my mind's still racing, but after so long, I start to relax, and the endorphins start to kick in. I actually end up in a better mood than I was originally before I had any anxiety. That's the second step I do. Something else you can do if you just cannot get that out of your head, and something that helps when you're in a more of depressive mood, is you can listen to music. And this is something most people's going to know. Many of your fans of Soul King, One Piece, he uses music to help change people's moods in battle. But yeah, if you're feeling really stressed out or angry, try to listen to calming music. I like to listen to steady music, like Zelda-based, hip-hop, whatever, but it's really low-key. It's almost like, sounds like jazz, and it helps me relax. Same thing, when I'm feeling depressed, I will turn on happy music. Again, I'm such a geek. I like to listen to One Piece opening songs just because they're so cheery. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. They are pretty cool. My favorite one is the one titled something like Hope. I think it's Hope. But yeah, music definitely helps a lot of people. Another thing I can say, and this is not something everybody can do, a lot of my stressors happened at home, some happened at school, some happened at work. But if you can, get away from the stressor. If it's a home-related problem, if you can go out, get some fresh air, or take on more hours at your job if you can, or even go to a friend's house for a while. You can feel a world of difference and effective just getting away from the stressor. You can feel like your world is ending, your mind's about to explode, you can't take it, you're having trouble breathing. But when you get away from it and get it off your mind a while, when you come back, you're like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. And it helps you cope with it better. Another thing that I find calming, and this is one thing my friend said he did, is I will go for a drive. If you're old enough to drive and have your own car, more power to you. But yeah, this is something I used to do when things got really bad. I would go for a drive. If couldn't shake the thoughts, I would blast the music on high. I'd let the windows down, let the wind come and hit me in the face, and kind of feel refreshed. And usually by the end of my drive, I was feeling very calm and more like myself. I had this little route I take through a little small town. It's like a big loop, big donuts, and it takes me about 30 minutes to complete it. It takes me through a small town and some beautiful countryside, and it's just very calming. It's also nice because there's not much traffic that way. I can really concentrate on my driving and enjoy it. Instead of driving more defensively, I can kind of just go with it. It's just more enjoyable than city driving. I'm going back to the dry erase board, as you can see here. Let's see. Another tip I can tell you is to talk it out if possible. If you have somebody you can trust, maybe a family member, a teacher, a friend, just venting it helps a lot. Just to get the thoughts out of your head. Because with me, if I don't vent, it's like they're like going bing, 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 bing in my head, and it drives me crazy. But if I can talk to somebody, it makes a world of difference. But I will have to say, and I learned this the hard way, you can't just talk to anybody about it. You can't just talk to somebody, a casual friend, There's a difference between like a acquaintance, a friend, and a best friends. And I would only recommend talking to a best friends. But I made the mistake of, in like really rough times, venting to some people who I probably shouldn't have, who I thought it was my friends, and it just didn't go well. Things ended up being, this drama come back at me later. So I just heavily recommend being careful who you talk to about stuff. Especially because certain people, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to try to think it out. When you're upset, you can make things sound worse than they are without meaning to, because that's how you feel in the moment. If somebody doesn't know you, they can take things completely the wrong way and think very badly of you. Or if you're venting about family matters, they can think your family is just horrible when they're just challenging. You want to be careful. One thing I will say though, you can't always go to family. Dad is not somebody I can go to when I need to talk. He cannot deal with additional stress. He will just shut down. He will not listen. He just will not handle it at all. He'll even just walk out the house. So you have to keep that in mind. Not everybody can handle it. You need somebody who can listen to you, maybe give you a little advice, but not get too invested in it. Somebody who can kind of like just pat your shoulder and like, you're going to be okay. It's not as bad as you think it is. Let's sit down and see if you have any options. Or do you just want to cry it out? Kind of thing. If you don't have that, and this is something I used to do, I used to work a really rough job. And I had a lot of toxic coworkers, and it's not like I could call and talk to somebody on my shifts or on my breaks and try to vent. And texting wasn't good either. So what I used to do was take a sheet of ordinary notebook paper on my break. I would have maybe 10 minutes left. And I'd just sit down there and write out all my ideas, why I was angry at people, how they did me wrong. I'd even cuss them out. But by the end of it, I felt so much better. And then I would take the paper and rip it up so nobody could find it and, use it against me later. But just to get that, once again, out of my head and it out into the world, it just made me feel so much better. And believe me, it was a huge difference between doing that and not doing that. All right. My next tip, and this is something I struggle with. I am a caffeaholic. I love caffeine. I love cherry Pepsi. But when I'm really stressed out and having anxiety, I have found that I have to limit my caffeine because it just makes it worse and kind of intensifies it in a way. I know that's not true of everybody, but it does do that way for me. It makes my heart race more. It makes the thoughts race more. And it's just something that I have to do on bad days. It's just limit it. All right. And I have one more tip for all you students out there. This is something that used to stress me out a lot until I learned how to deal with it. I actually took a college 101 class and it taught me a lot. I actually knew nothing about time management before I went to college. I knew how to prioritize, but time management was beyond me. But my teacher taught me that it helps to break things down. Like I used to get so stressed out because I'd have to do homework and studies for 4 classes. I'd have some of these really hard English assignments. I didn't even know how to sit down and start them. They were so complicated. But I learned to buy agenda. You can get them at the Dollar Tree. You can get them at Walmart. I got this one at Walmart for like $8. And I would take my homework assignments and I would break it down. I'm just like, okay, so Monday I'm going to work on my history assignment. And then Tuesday, it's going to be for my English assignment. I'm going to outline what I'm going to do for my English assignment. Then the next day, I'm going to study for, let's just say, my literature class or something. that really helped to break it down into more manageable chunks instead of like sitting there saying, I'm going to sit here as long as I can tonight and get as much done. So in case something comes up later, I don't have to worry about it. I did so much better just like, okay, I'm just going to do a little bit here, a little bit there, work on so much a day, and it really helped, especially the English assignments. I would try to outline it, and then I would break it down into steps accordingly, like first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, research, double checking everything, and I would just do the same thing. I'd go and put a little thing to do each day, and it made it so much manageable and easier to deal with, and it really cut my stress almost down to nothing doing it that way. You just have to get used to it. And the last tip I want to give, and by no means am I a mental health professional, but if you do think you need help, it doesn't hurt to go to a doctor and try to get it. Like, I understand a lot of you probably watching this video like don't have like medical insurance, or you might have it, but it might have so much of a copay or whatever that it's just really hard to go to the doctor, even though you do have insurance. You know, you just don't have the extra money to put with it or whatever. And some of you might even be embarrassed to go, and there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people go. I'm not saying broadcast it to the world, but yeah, if you can, definitely go and see what the doctor says. Yeah, but I would definitely recommend trying the coping mechanisms and see if they help you first. But at the end of the day, the decision's up to you, definitely. But yeah, I'd definitely say that was the last step, to go and see if you need medicine to help, because not everybody needs medicine, but some people do, and there's no shame in that. Alright, does anybody else have coping mechanisms? Because I'm sure there's some more out there. Comment below if you have different ones. I'd love to read them. Please like the video and subscribe for more like this. Thanks for watching, and bye!